some of these more represented decks, having a bit of a look as we're actually seeing thumbing through, it does look like we're in. Oh, actually, I spotted a Righteous Cleansing for the side of Eriku, and that's a card that we don't often see in these fatigue strategies. A bit more of a stock here as well. It is interesting if you are on the side of Leroy Martin-McEwen about what you sideboard for, because it is good in the sense of that, like, it doesn't really matter. Even if you side for the setup, you do lose like a little bit of consistency based on the fact you're most likely not running the Grimoire of the Felling Song, you're running the Haunt. But regardless, I still think the Vynnsett natural plan is very, very powerful.
It is very strong. She doesn't mind taking quite a bit of blood debt over the course of the game, just in order to set up these massive turns. She just banks cards and basically banks intellect for future turns, which is super strong.
I love this as well from Eric. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but placing a cold foil confidence token face up on your mat as you're shuffling puts the seed of doubt in your opponent's head about whether or not you're on fatigue. Because if you're on fatigue, you don't need a confidence token. You're not making a confidence. You're running them out of deck. But if you're showing that like straight up, if I'm on the side of Leroy, in my head, you got to be like, am I about to get smacked in the face for big Righteous Cleansings every turn?
Lucky for Vynnsett, she does block pretty well.
Yeah.
At times.
Plenty of block. Doesn't have many block cards. Yeah, so Leroy is opting to go first because I believe he won the die roll. We'll see here the classic setup, and it is interesting actually. Maybe has some information. He's running Grimoire of the Felling Song alongside Vex and Quillhand. So instead wants to play for potentially a little bit less of that aggression. But having a look at the setup here, interesting from the feet perspective. We are actually seeing the Moment Makers, I believe. Sorry, boost to the board. Boost to the board. Never mind. I thought we had Moment Maker. I got excited, but no, it is going to have the Arcane Barrier as well.
Yeah, seems like a good choice. I think with the Grimoire of the Felling Song, I think it has become the default for a lot of Vynnsett players. A lot of Vynnsett players aren't even utilizing the other book anymore, just because having that Rune Chant on demand is just so powerful.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, though, where it's like, if Lyra has a bit of additional information, or if he's sort of hedging, it makes more sense. But I do know, I've spoken to some Vynnsett players, if you are going for that full combo turn, the Haunt is incredibly powerful because you're not going to run out. And hey, what a way to start. But incantation, that one costs as well. We've seen this enter back into the list now that Acilio sort of showing itself again, and Scour is the thing, because if you have all of your Malefic scoured, it is like borderline concession territory.
Absolutely, it's almost a loss on the spot when you get hit with a Scour. It's not a very nice card.
I love it. One of my favorites, and we are going to see, so just play it, pass back, not let any setup. Now it is interesting as well, for the side of Pleiades, because if they are not on the defensive version of the deck, they can like flash out auras on the end step. But Eric is just gonna gain some life. 43 with the Sigil of Solace here, and attacking. Interesting. Not with the Miller's Grindstone, but instead, I believe.
Interesting.
Is that tough smash up? Yeah, it is. It's a yellow tough smash up. Not what I expected.
Definitely not what I expected to see from our Pleiades player on turn 0 or turn 1.
But I think if you're looking at the cards over in the pitch zone as well, I'm pretty sure if you're Leroy, you're now immediately going, cool, I'm going to start blocking. And it's interesting as well because, it does have access to one of the most powerful defensive pieces of equipment in Face Purgatory. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually just used as a cool 2-block on the go turn.
In this matchup, yeah, I can see that being absolutely the best use case. I don't know if the Pleiades would be on Pummel, because otherwise that's the second best use case, baiting out a Pummel and hitting the discard. But yeah,
I think if you're seeing... I think if you're seeing what we've already seen from the side of Eric, you're probably pretty safe to play around Pummel. Heart of Findel in the hand for Eric here, and it is become apparent. This is the fatigue version of the list. But immediately, Lyra is actually going to start with Shadow Puppetry and actually wants to start getting in for damage. So he's going to come in and actually swing with the Deathly Whale here. Deathly Whale with Shadow Puppetry being attached to it as well. So +1 go again, and on hit, you got to look at the top card and banish it. It's going to be the rune charts. The first rune chart will leak through because of the Vynnsett ability, and then it's going to block up the other ones. No life gain though for the side of Heart Offender. What's the card even good for? I don't know. But yeah, we are going to see 7 damage already being presented. The block's already coming out with the boots.
I was going to say, it's usually the case. You're always blocking out these shadow pups because it's just, if you let it hit, it's just so much good value for the Vynnsett.
And now just Leroy once again. Taking consideration. It's one of these things as well. Oh, Ripple Away is actually going to be presented here now. And as a result, Leroy is not going to get any rune chance because it is an action card that makes them. And so this is back-breaking for the side of Leroy. He's not going to have anything to set up with. Now, we've talked a little bit about this already where the Vynnsett deck probably wants to set up a little bit more. We'll still get one, I believe. Yeah, we'll get one because it was going to make 2. It's not instances of 1.
Yeah.
But it is one of these things where if he doesn't have the setup hands, he can't just pass back. So maybe just taking the time to attack and then set up later.
Yeah, that's right. I think in this matchup, it's definitely the case where the Vynnsett will even often IP cards and keep them around for the next turn, because the Pleiades isn't going to be swinging much in the form of disruption. Most turns, it might just be a hammer or just, blocking out. So it's a very conservative game plan from the Vynnsett, usually.
Seeing already, though, had so much in the hand in regards to just attack action, so didn't want to IP himself. And so just opting, you know what, I've got plenty of time to make up for it. And I guess this is like a really interesting thing. When you are playing Vynnsett, you do have to set up a lot, don't get me wrong. But you can set up relatively fast depending on the construction of your hand. So it's like you can afford to spend a couple of enchants. Funeral Moon is going to go into the banish zone. Probably the best place for that card to be as well, because you play it from banish and then you can like recycle it back in. And that's sort of the power that we've seen through Deep Recesses of Existence. Just being able to banish your own cards from graveyard is so strong.
Yeah. Funeral Moon, also one of those wide turn enablers with the Eloquence tokens. What?
Alongside the boots as well for Leroy. And it has to consider, has a Malefic in hand, and I think Eric is just considering, nope, it's just going to be Leroy passing it across. It's a yellow Malefic incantation. Now I would be surprised to see Leroy attacking again. Just probably at this point starts banking up these rune charts, playing out as many Malefics as he can. And ooh, interestingly, is actually going to play out Envelop in Darkness, and he is going to go for an attack. So Envelop in Darkness creates a rune chart and then gets +3. And then again, we are going to see that Deathly Well. So it is going to refund unless we see another copy of Ripple Away being discarded.
Yep, I think the Vynnsett, if like Leroy could make the decision not to attack, but in the end, his decision point is probably, I'm going to make some rune chants on the back end, so it's okay to attack here. Vynnsett really falls apart when she doesn't have those rune chant build-ups on the back end and can't do anything on the following turn. So that's probably his justification for letting this one rip, I think.
Also is insulated pretty heavily from any clash cards with discard here as well. Has no cards in hand, just a card in arsenal. And I will say, like, the Funeral Moon probably not being deployed here, so we'll take a little bit of blood debt. That's not too bad. But also, yeah, depends, because I was going to say, unlikely that his opponent is actually going to let him hit. But I couldn't tell. I think Leroy might have actually pinged himself with the shadow action, so might be able to play it at instant speed anyway, if he decides this is the turn to do so. Or, as you were saying before, Jai, being able to leave it to enable longer turns.
It looks like he's thinking about playing out the Funeral Moon, is he? Yeah. So he's considering keeping it for a future turn or just playing it out to go up. Yeah, he's just going to keep it here. I think it's wise because he's already on 3 rune chants. So going to 4 at the start of next turn enables all of your cards, right?
Yes, for I believe, with Deep Recesses being the biggest one. We also see, 2 to 4 is generally like 2 is like a big breakpoint, and then 4 the other. Another card though that might be really interesting on these go ways turns, Succumb to Temptation. Right? It's own. I don't know. I wouldn't actually be surprised if you sided them out, because it's unlikely that your opponent's going to have cards in hand.
Absolutely, and I think Eric, he's 3-0. He's clearly pretty experienced in playing fatigue Pleiades. He probably is aware that it's a possibility, and he's playing around it anyway. You could see on one of the previous turns he blocked out, pretty much fully leaving no cards in hand, completely playing around the possibility. But it could easily be sided out in this matchup because it's usually better in aggro matchups when your opponent doesn't want to block.
Exactly. And I think is interesting. Oblivion is a card that we could also be looking at towards the later ends of this game. It's not the easiest for Pleiades to deal with if they're also trying to block out completely. Leroy has activated Sonata Galaxia. 4/4, so X is 2, so we'll have go again. So it's gonna go and fetch out the Malefic Incantation as well. Just a slow slew of rune chants being generated, and then likely also going to instead look to play something else to set up, or is he just going to start tempoing? I don't know if you get there tempoing consistently, but with how this sort of deck has been set up, it's definitely fell more into that vein.
I agree. He's come out of the gates a lot more aggressive, and his opponent's still on 38 life, so it's not going to be easy for Leroy here. He has brought out another Rune Blood Incantation. Let's see, he's pitching here.
Pitch of a Blue Deathly Whale, and it's once again gonna be another Envelop in Darkness just being played out, and now likely, just these Deathly Whales just getting in. Understands that a bunch of rune chants are actually always going to be generated, and it's not like he's sending small amounts, but activation of Pleiades is going to allow him to draw a card, just based on the fact that he is removing that counter off of in the palm of your hand. And so now I found another one. So actually has 5 cards in hand available, including an Oasis Respite. So you want to talk about why people talk about setting up against this deck? This is why.
Absolutely. All I see in the hand for Eric is just a ton of ways to deal with these rune chants and to block this Deathly Whale out. And this Fatigue Pleiades deck is incredibly good at fatiguing most decks, let alone one of the most easily fatigable decks in the format, which is Vynnsett.
You reckon Vynnset's fatigable?
Absolutely. She gets fatigued by Marionette quite a bit.
Palm of a hand, a second one being deployed, and now just going for blocks. And we'll have the Clash followed then by the Fate Foreseen. Clash will be won by the side of Leroy, though.
Ooh.
And the Fate Foreseen is going to find the Righteous Cleansing, is going to place it on the bottom, saving that for the later game to actually end the game here. Leroy will gain on the back end off that Malefic Incantation, back up to 3 rune chants. Once again, has a Funeral Moon, and has dealt arcane damage because of the trigger. And I think once again, it's just this instance where the hands have not been. He's not had the classic drop 4 Malefics in a turn pass, so it's been a little bit challenging for him to actually do those big setup turns.
I've got an update to the life totals as well. They are 28.35 for our viewers.
But Eric, looking at the hand already, does actually have a Fiddler's Green available. So not the best card into Vynnsett. Blocking. There's not a huge amount of things that you want to block for 1, except for maybe the flail. No. A lot of it is for like non-break points, but gaining life is always very good into these really powerful decks. 6 rune chants though are sitting there. A Cull has been put, and a Deadwood Dirge as well. Really smartly is actually going to eat up one of those Rune Blood Incantations that had no counters on it. So getting the maximum amount of rune chants. And we want to talk about setup here. Well, it looked like that he wasn't opting for it, but instead it's just opted to do it all in a turn. Why do it over 5 when you can just make as many rune chants in 1 turn anyway?
Absolutely. This is the kind of turns that you're frothing at the mouth for as Vynnsett, setting up these huge, and a Cull as well. Now he does have a card in hand, so probably just going to be a Ringate card that he banishes here. Oh, another Cull. Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to take 2 off Blood Debt, so 30 plays 38, but this is sort of more what I expected from out of the gate from Leroy, but really smartly identifying the fact that he had turns available where he wasn't losing too much on the back end by doing it, and is still able to actually deploy out a lot of these big setup pieces. Now, the Fiddler's Green for Eric here, sadly, kind of stuck. And this is one of the things you can do. Boulder Drop will be presented. And one of the few attacks that being set. And I really like this build from Eric. Still playing all the traditional fatigue stuff, but also has ways of converting when your opponent just sets up.
Yeah, it's really important, especially into a deck like Vynnsett, where she's like, okay, if you're just going to swing hammer at me, I'm just going to set up 1,000 rune chance and try and kill you in a couple of turns. Like, this boulder drop is very annoying for Leroy here.
It's interesting though, because if it was full tempo, I 100% agree. But Leroy does have the ability to actually block with some cards and continue setting up. Has a Malefic Incantation in hand.
True.
Also has found things like Beseech the Demigod, which is a card that is quite powerful, but not yet because he doesn't have anything. And yeah, Mordred Tide plus Beseech the Demigod is going to block, so 2 damage to leak across. Interesting though, doesn't want the Mordred Tide in this instance because it's so funny. Because we've seen Mordred Tide as a card that is like, you play Mordred Tide, you play Read the Runes, and you make 5 rune shards. But it's super interesting when you have a whole bunch of like Malefics on the battlefield, where you can just go like swing and attack, make 9 rune shards on the back end as well. So doesn't want it now.
Matt, you're making me miss the Viscera days. My favorite thing to do is play Mordred Tide with a bunch of Malefics and just send 30 rune chance at your opponent.
I definitely remember playing 5 games of Blitz in 15 minutes when that deck was legal. Read the runes. Reduce the rune chance will come across now. Probably one of the best defense reactions in the entire game. Makes a rune chant and also just blocks for 4. So it's a 0 for 4 plus 1. It's unbelievably strong.
Excellent card. It's so easy to get all the rune. Like, it's like the most confusing class in the game because everything's like reduce, rune chant, read. Like, it's all R's. It's so easy to get these cards mixed up.
Yeah.
And reduce and the aura rune blood incantation, they're both red.
Yeah, and also then like let's be so honest,
both confused.
Everything is red in this deck. It's crazy. It's red and purple, but we are seeing already 14 rune chants on the side of Leroy. Knows for a fact that this is the thing when you are playing these sorts of decks. When do you pull the trigger? And we are looking like a machinations of the machinations of Dominion being played out. And also, so it's going to be Deep Recesses of Existence coming in with it. And the Ripple Away.
You Ripple Away, discard Matt.
Ripple Away coming through. And as a result, Malefic Incantations, they are actions. They're not going to make the rune chance on the back end. You see Leroy not happy about it.
That's so brutal. But we are still seeing him. There we go. We've got some damage leaked for our. As you can see, the life totals down the bottom, guys. They're the current life totals. The one up the top is a bit delayed.
Yeah, but the hard thing about this though is the fact that it is going to be challenging now for Leroy to actually play anything out because he's not going to have any of the rune shots. Might have to go to the scary thing. Now you have to remember this does have overpower as well, so we'll take the damage here. And now, just considering, does still have an Eloquent Eulogy sitting in the banish zone, but I don't know if he's going to have the rune shots. You might have to pop the Quill Hand, but do you want to do that at this point? And we are seeing 18 plays 22, no cards in the hand for the side of Eric. And it's actually going to be from the Arsenal that's going to come out as well.
Okay.
So just the damage leaking across. We'll see now what's going to be banished off the top. And you can't even play the Funeral Moon out because it just won't do anything.
No. But I just realized the riffle stops the eloquence being made as well.
Yeah, so nothing being generated here. If there's one cast that does not like Ripple Away, it is 100% the Rune Blades. It was the same thing when people were trying to do Germinates. You would just discard a Ripple Away. It was just not good. Start of turn though, pass back from Eric. 18 plays 15, and we are seeing the third copy of Eloquent Eulogy now. One's already been played and 2 in the bench. So Mordred Tide, does he have the third copy of Ripple Away? No, he does not. And as a result, Vex and Quill Hand being popped. This is a throwback to how it used to be. 4 rune chants suddenly out of nowhere. And still has the Grimoire if required as well. And once again, the machinations coming out.
Exactly what Leroy wants to see here. More go again enablers just to push these cards out of the banish zone and onto the combat chain.
You were talking about it as well with eloquence tokens and funeral moon. So we'll be able to go super wide on this turn. Remember, Mordred Tide is active the entire turn. So it's not here. So he can also pitch into his Grimoire and make 2 rune chants again. And so there is opportunities in these instances actually to do a lot. But actually, I got the card wrong. Sorry. That is actually Widespread Ruin. So the top card of the deck is what's being banished in this instance. So plenty of damage, and damage to leak through because it had overpower. And then once again going through the second copy of Widespread Ruin again. Oh, no, sorry, still considering on blocks.
Yeah.
I think we'll see him as well.
Yeah.
So pretty insulated. Also has access to Skullcap. Probably wants to wait until he is lower life to get the full value off of Arcanite Skullcap. And I will say that is a card I miss being played more. I love Skullcap. I think Skullcap is awesome.
Yeah, it did get edged out for quite a while, but we have so many powerful headpieces in the game now. But it has come back into the game in various decks, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I've seen like Gravies running it versus Acilio and stuff like that. But I will never forget playing games where you're trying to like take specific amounts of damage to turn off your opponent's Skullcap and that sort of thing. It is enabled now though because he is lower, and Leroy does have go again. But no, it's just gonna. Is he? Oh, another copy as well. The second one is coming across, and now we'll see once again. Also, still has access to Funeral Moon, and so Skullcap immediately being blocked with. But this is the third copy of Machinations of Dominion, and inside as well, once the chain closes, is going to be able to banish 2 cards off the top. This is how you start to grind a game out. Funeral Moon will make 2 rune chants, while Fate for Scene finally being played.
Well, he's just opted a Testifying Grip to the bottom there.
Yeah, Funeral Moon now. Make 2 rune chants.
Here we go.
And it takes the damage, so wants it to be unpreventable on this next one, I think. And then just now consideration, what does he do? Just passes it back. Still has a card in hand for the side of Eric though, and the banish off the top. And that's important. Banishes a Deathly Whale, so it's actually going to take 2 blood debt in this instance instead. No, sorry, he closed the chain.
No, he broke the chain. Yeah, he closed the chain. Yeah.
So to actually do it across. And now we're actually seeing the Eloquent Eulogy coming. Skullcap once again being blocked with and takes the damage. Actually ticked down, so the first one is unpreventable, and now has to consider where the blocks are coming from.
Now, this is the kind of turn we were talking about with Vynnsett, that the Vynnsett needs to get over the top of this Pleiades deck. And if you look at the life totals, it's worked.
Still has Malefic Incantations present. Did have to use the arm piece, but has not used. Oh, gains the life off a Sigil as well. So clawing back a little bit, but does have access to an Eloquent Eulogy. I don't think that's a Rippleaway. It is. So the third copy of Rippleaway, and this could be devastating because Leroy does not have many rune chants available. We'll have 1 guaranteed off of the Vynnsett ability, but this could be an absolute blowout.
He still does have the Grimoire. So we can go to 2 currently that we can see. Needs to get to 3 to play the Deathly Whale in the Banish Zone.
Deep Machinations also being placed into the Banish Zone, a singular rune chant. You have to remember though, and this is one thing with the Vynnsett deck, is that when they're not being pressured all the time, they can also just play the cards out of hand.
They can pitch.
Yeah, they don't have to play things for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, another Malefic. Oh, this Ripple's going to be devastating, Matt.
Yeah, and also that ate up the Eloquence token as well, so it has double go again. But isn't it? Sonata Galaxia is going to come across though, and he's actually taking a setup turn. I really like this decision. Knows that even though his opponent's at a low life total, he can't just try and trade back and forth because he's going to get fatigued. He knows he has to set up again. Has plenty of life to play with, and also a lot of equipment as well. And this Rippleaway, I think he's going to try his absolute best to keep it in hand.
What's his target? Oh, he does have 1 more Malefic. Okay. Yeah, and I think, like you just said, Matt, I think Eric's going to IP the Ripple because it's going to be so much value coming in this next turn.
Look at the deck size for Leroy, though. Not a lot of cards left available. plenty of shuffling has occurred, so we don't actually know what's left in the deck. And I do believe that he has some power cards available, but depending on how many Mordred Tides he's on, he might be out of Mordreds. I think he's probably out of Malefics as well.
I think that was his last Maleficent deck. He was searching through his deck, and I could only see one. So, he's just organizing his board here.
Definitely one of the harder things. One of the hardest things. And yeah, I love this decision. Decides to take some blood debt. It has Command and Conquer for the side of Eric as well, so it does have a bit of a punish. And yeah, just opting to keep Fate Foreseen alongside the Ripple Away. This Ripple Away might change the course of the game.
I hope that's not a Mordred Tide in his arsenal.
Well, Mordred Tide. Oh, hang on. I have to read how Ripple Away works. Because I think Mordred Tide.
Oh.
Hang on. This is certainly interesting. I wonder if.
I know
if you would create a rune shard, create that many +1. And then Ripple Away says.
Create one less, right?
Yeah, so word from our.
Yeah, so
judge. Hang on, Lachlan. If you were there, do you want to just let people know how it works?
Away creates one less than that.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not like the Ripple Away will make the one go to 0 and then it can't be doubled.
No,
because you're the active player, right?
No, yeah. So it's instead the rune chant creation is instead replaced by Mordred, which creates one more, and then Ripple sees how many you're about to make and takes one off that.
Yeah. Okay, so it might actually be. Thank you. Shout out to Lachlan for jumping in there. Lachlan, of course, is also a judge, so it's great to have on site from our perspective. But yeah, so that Mordred Tide might actually save Leroy, to be honest, because if he goes from making like no rune chants, the game is just completely flipped because suddenly all of these attacks start to do things. And yeah, I love this blocking, and this is one thing Vynnsett actually does really well is blocking.
Yeah, all those rune gates block for 3. All right, we got a Vynnsett trigger.
The Deathly Whale. So plenty of rune chants that could come across here, and does have the ability now. Has to decide, does he play it out? He's going to activate the Grimoire as well. So goes to 3, and that is Oblivion being pitched as well. So no Oblivion shenanigans happening this game. 3 and 2, and now we will see, does Leroy deploy that from Arsenal? If it is what we think it is, and maybe not. Oh, it's not, and this is going to be devastating. 3 and 6. This can all be prevented, and the discard of Ripple Away once again. Leroy reels in his seat. He doesn't have the bailout. He had to use the Grimoire to get to this position, and as a result, now will not make any additional rune charts on this turn. Oh, cannot. That is devastating for the side of Leroy Martin, unless he has a way of actually activating his greaves, but he doesn't have anything to pitch with.
No. Okay, so let's talk about the ripple value on this turn. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Malefics losing 1 value each. Then it's going to stop the Deathly Whale creation as well, right?
Correct, because it's an action card.
Because it's an action.
So
that's a 5 value.
Oh wait, no, because he hasn't taken damage yet on this turn. I don't believe.
Oh no, he hasn't.
No, because he's not played a shadow action. So, yeah, a shadow non-attack. Sorry. So yeah, no rune chance at the end of this, and this is the worst position you can be in if you're a Vynnsett player. All 3 ripples away from Eric have got an unbelievable value this game.
Oh my god.
So we'll see 4 life. Yeah, blocking it out. Eric with a perfectly timed keep of a Ripple Away in hand. All 3 of them got an unbelievable value. And Leroy now has to think to himself, how do I pull this game back? Life totals plays 11. The gaining of some life.
It's interesting.
I was going to say 11 plays 9.
Yeah, it's flipped. Yeah, it's interesting. Flesh and Blood's such a technical game because usually we say never IP cards because you lose value, right? But you have to have the knowledge there, Eric, to IP that Ripple Away for that turn because it's so pivotal in beating Vynnsett, like we just saw.
And we've also had the dreaded hand of no rune gate cards. Now, this might actually be okay because he doesn't want to start taking too much damage. And yeah, it's just gonna banish Beseech the Demigod for a singular rune chant. Knows now there's no more ripple ways available, but it's 9 plays 9. So 9 plays 9. Your opponent, Eric, has ways of gaining life. And yeah, Mordred Tide being the one thing he might be able to do to play things out, but I don't know what's in the banish zone. Oh, okay. Very, very smart and heads up to keep the Envelop in Darkness in the banish zone with the Mordred Tide to go up to 3 again. This is brilliant from him. So just insulates himself knowing that ripple away exists. None left available. And so he's going to lose a life to make sure one of this comes through. So 3 and 3. Oh, no, sorry, this is going to be for 9 as well. Tick down. And now it does also still have activation of creepers available. I don't know if we're going to see anything else. But yeah, 4 rune shots available. So if he has something to creepers out here, he can actually also play the last card left available. But I think this is so much Eric. Eric is going to just have to pass it back after blocking.
Yeah, Creeper's activation could be huge here. But does he have a resource?
No, he doesn't have a resource or another card.
Okay, I think this might be the end of the turn then.
Doesn't matter though.
But he's going to have an arsenal and 4 rune chants.
Yeah, he has a bunch of malefics that tick down under Mordred Tide as well.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, Eric has to consider how to block the rest of this out. 3 rune chants plus 9 damage. I believe that is a red Deathly Wail as well.
Does he have a ripple in hand? He's probably...
No, it's a Fiddler's Green.
Eric?
Fiddler's Green.
Oh, sorry, Fiddlers, I mean. Yeah.
So we'll gain some life.
Awkward.
Leroy, from what seemed to be a diabolical situation, has managed to find the one line to allow him to play out these cards from Banish. And you have to remember, Blood Debt hurts. So pitching for the rune chants
That's
originally, and now 9 damage leaking across. Is going to take a little bit here, but we'll gain it back.
Yep, he's on a clock. He's on 2 clocks, the Vynnsett. He's on the life clock, his own life, and then he's on the deck count clock as well. So it's really on him to just find the line. Lockie would love that I just said that. Inside joke.
3, 6, 7, 8. So we'll take 1, but then gain 3. So this turn ends. Yeah. So this turn ends up being a +2. So we'll go to 10. But Leroy has managed to set himself up once again. Still has cards available. Yeah, so just doing the math. So we'll net +2. Oh, once again, though, shouldn't he? I think he should actually be at. Yeah. I was going to say, should actually be at 8 rune chants now.
Yeah, he's just going to add them. Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, 7, because it is. I keep forgetting. I always think it's 2 triggers for the Deathly Wail, but it is technically 1 trigger of making 2. But yes, 7 plays 11. And a pass back has already happened from Eric. And Eric knows now the only way to survive is remove the deck. And a cull was found by Leroy. And a cull was found by Leroy
still
as
in a
well.
good position here. We've seen a lot of things not go his way with the ripples this game, but he's still he could still very, very well kill Eric here.
Yeah, it's just really going to depend on, I think it might finally be time for the creepers as well. Hasn't really had a good opportunity thus far to use them because he's been converting. Eloquent Eulogy might be important here. Because this is a really interesting thing about how... Oh, no, sorry. I keep getting these mixed up. That's not Eloquent Ruin. That's Widespread Ruin.
Widespread Ruin.
Yeah. But it is important with Eloquence tokens. If you're unaware, you can close the chain, make the token, and then creepers out something without natural go again. But Shadow Puppetry has been played. A life total will tick down. So Leroy's sitting at 6, but it is 7 alongside 8 rune chants as well. So the first one is guaranteed, and it's just going to have to start to pull it. And I will say, Leroy, I don't know how much additional build-up he has left in this deck. So this might be kind of like the turn. He has to find a way of pushing all of this damage through.
Absolutely. I was just about to say, this might be his last hurrah here. He's got to push with the resources he has left.
3 cards in hand, though. This has natural go again off of the Shadow Puppetry, and already ripping cards out as well. Has a cull available too before blocks happen. So might have to get a bit lucky off the Shadow Puppetry to find some absolute gas. So yeah, has a single rune shard left floating, and now Eric is considering where do you go with this, because it's important to note he's already taken an arcane. So Leroy,
He has. So
Leroy technically before blocks, yes, is going to take the rune shard, and then before blocks could cull away one of these cards to force this to come through, and he is going to do that as well. The cull comes out. Eric gives the nod of appreciation as a righteous cunning, and another copy. You want to get culled again? 4 damage leaking across now. Natural go again. What's the top card? What does he find? Shadow Puppetry. Deadwood Dirge is the other card available as well. So we'll have plenty of rune shards left available. Nothing additional. But Oasis Respite's going to come and clean it up, and suddenly no damage actually comes across.
So he'll break the chain.
The deep recesses, I will say, damage has already been done though, and so he can decide what he puts in the banish. So he's going to banish Righteous Cleansing.
Yep.
I'm
And
pretty
what's he
sure
gonna
that
choose here?
I'm pretty sure Eric got to shoot, but yes, super smart. Funeral Moon available, has a card to pitch as well, so he will be able to access creepers if he needs to. But no, opts not to. Funeral Moon into Deadwood Dirge. And he's going to be able to play it out 4 and 4, but the tunic's going to come across, and the extension, Leroy from absolute.
Beautiful.
What we thought, I was going to say, just the fist bump is extended